Happy birthday, Dad, Alex chirped, a wry smile on her face as she wheeled her suitcase across the floor. It wasn't a celebration, it was a countdown to my new life in Harbor Pines. I stared at the packed suitcase, each bulging bag a reminder that I was being sent away, not welcomed. If your son had given you a ticket to a nursing home as your 70th birthday present, what would you do? Comment below and let me know. Now I'll continue my story. I stood in the living room, my heart pounding as I looked at the suitcase Alex had pushed toward me. It felt ominous, like a coffin waiting for me. Today was supposed to be a happy day, but instead fear was rising in my heart. Happy birthday, Dad, Alex said, his voice bright but lacking in warmth. We have a special surprise for you. He gestured toward the suitcase, and Tom felt a chill run down his spine. What surprise? Tom asked, trying to hide his anxiety. He had seen that smile before, a smile that held something deeper than it seemed. Just a little trip, Alex said, his tone casual as he picked up the suitcase. I'll love it, trust me. Tom's stomach twisted. A trip? Where are we going? Harbor Pines. It's a great place. You'll meet some new people, Alex said, avoiding his father's eyes. Tom's mind raced, memories of his life flashing before his eyes, his house, the garden he'd nurtured with Nora, the warmth of their time together. I don't want to leave home, he said, his voice shaking. The walls felt like they were closing in, suffocating him with memories. A few days ago, I'd overheard Alex and Emma talking from the next room. I can't believe we're actually doing this, Alex said, his voice low but clear. We could sell the house for a good price. It's just sitting there, and Dad won't be able to take care of it. Emma's reply was cold. Well, why should we keep a spot for an old man who can't even remember where he parked? We can't afford to take care of him. Instead of having to take care of an old man, we should sell the house and put him in a nursing home. We'll have some extra money. Let's just get this over with. The words hit me like a blow, leaving me breathless. How could this be? The son he had raised, the boy who had clung to his arm, he was now treating as a burden, a financial liability. Dad, I'm doing this for your own good, Alex insisted, his voice full of disappointment, pulling me back to reality. You can't live alone. You need to be taken care of. I don't need to be taken care of. I need you to respect my choices, Tom retorted, his voice laced with hurt. But Alex just shook his head, the determination in his eyes deeper than any knife. Don't make this harder than it has to be, Alex said, his voice even. Dad's not the same anymore. He can't just ignore it. I felt the weight of betrayal sink into my chest. Mom's not here anymore, Alex snapped, frustration rising. This is for the best. He can't keep pretending everything's okay. I stood there, numb, watching Alex grab the suitcase. Each tug on the doorknob felt like a stab to the heart. The realization hit me this wasn't a journey to a new home. It was a one-way ticket to a place he never wanted to go. I wanted to fight back, to reclaim my dignity, but the exhaustion of being trapped in this web of manipulation held me back. The kitchen was Tom's sanctuary, filled with memories of laughter and love shared with Nora. Today, it felt more like a prison as he stood staring at the ingredients for his favorite cherry pie, the weight of betrayal heavy on his heart. Happy birthday, Dad, Alex's voice rang out, but it felt hollow. It was supposed to be a joyful day, yet all Tom felt was an aching emptiness. He looked at the suitcase by the door, a stark reminder that his son was about to take him away to a place he didn't want to go. Tom began to sift flour, hands trembling. Memories of baking with Nora flooded his mind. You spoil me, he would tell her as she rolled out the dough, her laughter filling the room. She had always made his birthday special, even during her illness. But today, all he could feel was the sting of Alex's words. You need care, Dad. You can't keep living alone. They echoed in his ears, sharp and cutting. How had it come to this? The son he had raised and loved was now treating him like an inconvenience, ready to cast him aside. Dad, we're running late, Alex interrupted, impatience creeping into his tone. You really need to hurry. Tom's heart sank. I'm making your mother's recipe, he replied, desperation creeping into his voice. Can't we just enjoy this moment? Seriously, it's just a pie, Alex snapped, rolling his eyes. You can bake later. We need to go to your new home. The dismissal stung like a slap. Tom felt anger rise within him, but it was overshadowed by a deeper pain. This isn't just about the pie, Alex. It's about remembering your mother, about holding on to the life we built together. Alex scoffed, his expression hardening. You're living in the past. You can't cling to memories forever. It's time to move on. Tom's chest tightened. How could Alex say such things? I'm not living in the past. I'm honoring it. The words escaped him, raw and filled with emotion. As the pie baked, the sweet aroma filled the kitchen, but it only deepened Tom's sorrow. He thought of the last birthday he had spent with Nora, her hands shaking as she carefully placed the pie in the oven. I want to make it special for you, she had said, her spirit unbroken despite the pain. Now all Tom felt was the cold reality of betrayal. Alex was ready to erase everything, his memories, his home, his dignity. With the pie cooling on the counter, Tom turned to face Alex, determination hardening in his gaze. I won't go quietly. You may think you can take me away, but I will fight for my memories, for the life I've built with your mother. Tom stood in the kitchen, feeling the weight of his love for Nora and the sting of Alex's betrayal. He would not let his son dictate his fate. Today was his birthday, and he intended to celebrate it, even if it meant standing alone against the tide of his son's decisions. The car rolled into the driveway of Harbor Pines, its modern facade looming over Tom like a trap. As he stepped out, a chill ran down his spine. This wasn't a fresh start. It felt like a prison. Welcome to your new home, Dad, Alex said, his voice overly cheerful, but Tom could hear the impatience lurking beneath the surface. The way Alex spoke felt rehearsed, as if he were trying to sell him a used car rather than ushering him into a new chapter of life. Tom hesitated, glancing around at the manicured lawns and glass windows, but it all felt cold and sterile. I don't need to be here, he insisted, his voice steady despite the tremor of fear within. I'm perfectly capable of living at home. Alex's smile faltered, replaced by a sharp glare. You keep saying that, but it's not true. You need help, Dad. You can't keep pretending everything is fine. His tone was dismissive, as if Tom's feelings were nothing more than an inconvenience. I'm not pretending. I just want to go home, Tom shot back, the frustration boiling within him. You have no idea what I'm capable of. Stop being so stubborn, Alex snapped, his voice rising. You're not the same man you used to be. You can't keep living in denial. The harshness of his words stung like a slap, and Tom felt the heat rise to his face. Stubborn? Is that what you think this is? Tom's heart raced as he struggled to keep his composure. I've spent my whole life making my own choices, Alex. I'm not some old man you can just shove around. Maybe you should start acting like it, Alex retorted, his eyes cold and unyielding. This isn't just about you anymore. It's about what's best for your health. Tom felt the weight of betrayal settle on his shoulders. The son he had raised, the boy who once looked up to him with admiration, was now treating him like a burden. I thought you cared about me, he said quietly, his voice thick with emotion. I do care, Alex shot back, but there was no warmth in his voice, only frustration. That's why I'm doing this. You're just too proud to see it. Proud? Tom echoed, the word tasting bitter on his tongue. I'm not too proud to see what's happening here. You're taking me away from my home, from my life, and for what? So you can sell my house? That house is too big for you. You need to let go. Alex's voice was sharp, cutting through the air like a knife. You're not living in the past anymore. You have to accept that. Each word felt like a dagger, and Tom's heart sank further. I won't accept this, he declared, though doubt crept in. I won't let you take my life away from me. As they stood in the driveway, the air heavy with tension, Tom realized he was fighting not just for his home, but for his very identity. But with every harsh word from Alex, the chasm between them widened, leaving Tom feeling more isolated than ever. Tom stepped into room 237, his heart sinking as he surveyed the small, sterile space. The air felt heavy with the scent of disinfectant, and the cold, clinical atmosphere only deepened his sense of loss. This was not the home he had envisioned for himself. It felt like a cage. He approached the dresser, his fingers brushing against the surface. It was bare, devoid of any personal touches or belongings. What happened to my things? He murmured to himself, the reality of his situation crashing down around him. Memories of his life with Nora flooded back, family photos, her jewelry, mementos of their years together. They were all gone. Dad, we need to move on, Alex said, stepping into the room behind him, his voice clipped and impatient. This is for your own good. For my own good? Tom shot back, his voice rising. You've taken everything from me? Where's my stuff? Where are the memories? You can't just erase my life because you think it's easier. Alex's expression hardened, the frustration boiling beneath the surface. I'm trying to help you. You can't keep living in that big empty house. You can't even remember where you put your keys half the time. Don't you dare talk to me like that, Tom exclaimed, anger surging through him. I'm still your father. Just because I'm aging doesn't mean I'm senile. You've turned against me, and for what? A chance to cash in on my life? Tom's heart ached as he remembered the warmth of family dinners, the laughter shared over cherry pies, and the love that had filled their home. This is a betrayal, Alex. I thought you loved me. I do love you, Alex replied, his voice rising. But you have to understand that this isn't working anymore. You need care, and this is the best place for you. Care? This isn't care. This is a prison. Tom felt the walls closing in, the weight of his son's betrayal heavy on his shoulders. You think putting me in this place will make things better? You're wrong. As the tension escalated, Tom glared at Alex, desperate to make him see the truth. You've taken away my dignity, my memories, my choices. I won't let you do this to me. Dad, just listen. Alex's voice was a mix of anger and desperation. We're doing this to keep you safe. Safe? You think locking me away is keeping me safe? Tom's voice cracked, revealing the hurt beneath his anger. You're pushing me away, and one day you'll regret it. With a heavy heart, Tom turned away from Alex, determined to reclaim his identity. He couldn't let this be the end. I need to speak to the director, he declared, his voice steady. I need answers, and I won't be silenced. I strode down the corridor, determination fueling my steps. I had to confront Reed, the director, to demand answers about the documents that had brought me to this place. The sterile walls felt like they were closing in, but I pushed forward, refusing to be a victim any longer. As I entered the administrative office, the atmosphere shifted. Reed looked up from his desk, surprise etched across his face. I wasn't expecting you so soon, he stammered, quickly smoothing out the papers scattered across his desk. Cut the pleasantries, Reed, I said, my voice firm. I need to see the paperwork that got me admitted here. The power of attorney, the medical evaluations, everything. Of course, but I assure you, everything was done according to protocol, Reed replied, his tone defensive. I leaned forward, my heart racing. According to protocol? That's rich, coming from someone who's locking people away without their consent. I want to see the documents now. Reed hesitated for a moment, then opened a drawer and pulled out a manila folder, his hands shaking slightly. Here they are, but I assure you, everything is in order. I flipped through the pages, my anger escalating with each line I read. The power of attorney signature was clearly not mine. This isn't my signature, I said, pointing to the document. You can see that it's forged. Reed's face paled as he attempted to regain his composure. If there are any discrepancies, we will investigate thoroughly. Investigate? I scoffed, my frustration boiling over. You should have done that before admitting me. This is a complete violation of my rights. I understand your frustration, but... Reed began, only for me to cut him off. Frustration? You think I'm just frustrated? This is my life you're playing with. This is about my dignity and my memories. Reed opened his mouth to respond, but I pressed on, the urgency in my voice rising. You need to understand what's at stake here. My son has deceived you, and I won't let him take everything from me. Your son? Reed asked, confusion flickering across his face. You mean Alex? Yes. He's the one behind this. He conspired to have me declared incompetent so he could sell my house. I felt the weight of the words hang in the air, heavy with the truth of betrayal. Reed's expression shifted from confusion to concern as he processed my revelation. If what you're saying is true, then we have a serious issue on our hands. I can't allow any malfeasance within this facility. Exactly, I exclaimed. You need to take this seriously. I want to speak to the police. This isn't just a misunderstanding. This is fraud. Reed nodded slowly, understanding dawning on him. Let me make some calls. We'll get to the bottom of this. As I stood there, I felt a flicker of hope ignite within me. I would fight back, not just for myself, but for everyone who had been silenced. The sound of footsteps echoed down the corridor, and I braced myself as I heard the door swing open. I knew the police were coming, but I felt a mix of fear and anticipation. I had to confront the reality of what Alex had done, and I wouldn't back down. As Detective Kim entered the room, her presence was commanding. Mr. Lester, thank you for your patience. We're here to gather information regarding your admission to Harbor Pines and the circumstances surrounding it, she said, her tone professional yet warm. I nodded, my heart racing. I want to know how this happened, I replied, my voice steady. I was brought here against my will, and I suspect that my son is behind it. Can you elaborate on that? She asked, taking a seat across from me, her notepad poised for notes. I took a deep breath, the memories of the past month flooding back. Before I was brought here, I had a successful life. I built a medical device company from the ground up, and I've amassed a considerable fortune over the years. I invested in several businesses, including senior care facilities. I've worked hard to create a legacy, not just for myself, but for my family. Detective Kim nodded, encouraging me to continue. I was proud of what I achieved with my late wife, Nora. We believed in giving back to the community, which is why we started the Lester Foundation. But now, it feels like everything I built is being taken away from me. Your son, Alex, he's been trying to sell my house, I confessed, my voice trembling with anger. He's made it clear he doesn't want to care for me anymore. Instead, he'd rather cash in on my assets. He even had the audacity to bring me to a nursing home. Detective Kim's expression shifted, understanding dawning on her. So Alex is financially motivated? Absolutely, I replied, feeling a surge of emotion. I overheard him and Emma discussing plans to sell my house for a substantial amount. They think I'm just an old man who can be pushed aside, but they don't realize how much I know about my investments and the wealth I've accumulated. As I spoke, I could see the detective jotting down notes. What's more, I have a network of contacts who will back me up. I won't let them take my life away without a fight. Just then, the door opened again, and I saw Alex standing there, his face a mask of anger and defiance. "What's going on here?" he demanded, his voice harsh. "Just discussing some important matters, Alex," I replied, my tone firm. "Your mother would be ashamed of how you're treating me. You don't know what's best for you," he shot back, stepping closer, his eyes blazing. "You're not capable of making your own decisions anymore." I stood my ground, refusing to let his words intimidate me. "You think locking me away is the answer? You've underestimated me, Alex." I will not be silenced. Detective Kim stepped between us, sensing the rising tension. "Mr. Lester, I need your cooperation," she said firmly. "We'll ensure your voice is heard. You've worked hard for your wealth and your dignity, and we will get to the bottom of this." As I watched Alex's expression twist with frustration, I felt a flicker of hope. I wouldn't let my son's greed dictate my fate. I was still Tom Lester, and I would reclaim my life. The atmosphere in the conference room buzzed with tension as I prepared to confront the board of directors at Harbor Pines. I had spent years building not only my wealth, but also a legacy of care and compassion, and I was determined to bring that vision back to life. As I entered the room, the expressions of the board members shifted from polite smiles to looks of concern. Reed sat at the head of the table, his demeanor noticeably more respectful than before. "Tom, thank you for joining us. We appreciate your patience during this difficult time," he began, but I could see the nervousness behind his facade. "Let's cut to the chase," I said, my voice firm. "I'm here to discuss the future of this facility and its residents. We need to prioritize their dignity over profit margins." The board members exchanged glances, and I could feel their unease. "We've made some changes since your last visit," Reed said, attempting to regain control of the conversation. "We're committed to improving our care standards." "Improving how?" I challenged, leaning forward. "By locking people away and disregarding their rights? By allowing my son to manipulate this entire system for his own gain?" A murmur of discomfort rippled through the room. "We had no idea about the circumstances surrounding your admission," one member said, clearly flustered. "We believe the documentation was legitimate." "Legitimate?" I scoffed, my frustration boiling over. "You mean the forged documents that allowed my son to declare me incompetent? You should have done your due diligence?" Reed hesitated, the weight of my words sinking in. "Tom, I can assure you that we take these matters seriously. But we need you to cooperate. If your son was involved in any wrongdoing, we can't allow that to tarnish our reputation." "Reputation?" I echoed, disbelief flooding my senses. "What about the lives of the residents? Are they just numbers on a balance sheet to you? I won't let you gloss over this for the sake of appearances." As I spoke, I could see the board members shifting uncomfortably in their seats. They were beginning to understand the gravity of the situation. "If we can prove that these changes will not only improve care but also enhance our reputation, we could implement them swiftly," Reed said, his tone now more conciliatory. Exactly, I replied, sensing the tide turning. Let's work together to make Harbor Pines a place where families feel secure and respected. We can implement a resident-centered approach that includes regular feedback sessions, transparency in operations, and a commitment to dignity. The room fell silent as I outlined my vision for reform. I spoke passionately about restoring the facility's mission to provide compassionate care, not just a place to store the elderly. The board members listened intently, and I could see their expressions shifting from resistance to cautious agreement. Your ideas are compelling, Tom, one board member, Patricia, said, but implementing such changes requires funding and staffing adjustments. How do you propose we manage that? I can help with that, I said, my confidence growing. The Lester Foundation has resources available for community projects. I'm willing to allocate funds to support these initiatives. We can promote dignity and respect for every resident and ensure we're held accountable. Do you have a proposal ready? Reed asked, his demeanor shifting to one of collaboration. We'd need a detailed plan to present to the stakeholders. I can have a draft ready by the end of the week, I replied. It will outline our goals, the necessary funding, and a timeline for implementation. I want to create a facility that not only meets state standards but exceeds them. As the meeting continued, I felt a surge of hope. This was not just about reclaiming my life. It was about transforming a system that had failed so many. I presented ideas for new programs, art therapy, community engagement initiatives, and regular family meetings to ensure resident voices were heard. The board members began to nod in agreement, their expressions now reflecting a shared vision. If we can build a reputation for excellence in care, we will attract more residents and funding, Reed said. This could be the turning point for Harbor Pines. As I left the conference room, I felt a renewed sense of purpose. I had not only confronted my past, but had also taken the first steps toward creating a future where dignity and compassion would reign at Harbor Pines. I was ready to fight for the residents and honor my legacy, determined to turn the tide against the betrayal I had faced. With each step, I knew I was reclaiming my identity and paving the way for meaningful change. A year had passed since that fateful day at Harbor Pines, and the morning sun streamed through the kitchen window, casting a warm glow over everything. I stood in the familiar space where Nora and I had shared countless moments, preparing to celebrate my birthday once again. But this year felt different. It felt hopeful. As I mixed the ingredients for my favorite cherry pie, a sense of purpose filled the air. I had fought back against the betrayal of my son Alex and his wife Emma. Their attempts to erase my life had only fueled my determination to reclaim my dignity and legacy. The community had rallied around me after the news of their fraud spread. I had received letters of support, offers to help, and even volunteers eager to assist in the transformation of Harbor Pines into a place of genuine care. I thought back to the day I had confronted the board of directors. The memory of their stunned faces when I revealed the truth about Alex and Emma filled me with a sense of triumph. They had believed the lies and manipulations, but I had stood my ground. I had fought not just for myself, but for every resident who had been silenced. The sound of the doorbell snapped me back to the present. Aiden, my grandson, stood on the porch, his bright smile lighting up his face. "Happy birthday, Grandpa!" he exclaimed, enveloping me in a warm hug that felt like a balm to my soul. "Thank you, Aiden. I'm so glad you're here," I replied, feeling a surge of pride and love. "I have something special planned for us today." We settled at the kitchen table, the smell of cherry pie filling the air. I watched as Aiden's eyes sparkled with curiosity. "What are we going to do today, Grandpa?" I took a deep breath, feeling the weight of the past year lift from my shoulders. "I want to talk to you about the foundation and how we can make a difference in our community." After everything that happened, I realized how important it is to ensure that the elderly are treated with respect and dignity. Aiden nodded enthusiastically. "I'd love to help. I want to make a difference, just like you and Grandma." As we discussed ideas for community engagement programs and ways to improve the lives of residents at Harbor Pines, I felt a sense of excitement build within me. We talked about art therapy sessions, game nights, and even a garden project where residents could grow their own vegetables. The thought of transforming the facility into a vibrant community filled with laughter and activity filled me with hope. The more we planned, the more I saw the spirit of Nora shining through Aiden. She had always believed in the power of community and compassion. "Your grandmother would be proud of you, Aiden," I said, my voice thick with emotion. She always wanted to create a place where people felt valued and loved. As we enjoyed the cherry pie together, I reflected on the changes that had taken place at Harbor Pines. The once stale atmosphere had transformed into a lively, welcoming environment. Residents were engaged, smiling, and participating in activities. It was everything Nora and I had dreamed of, a place where dignity reigned. Later that afternoon, Aidan and I decided to visit Harbor Pines. As we walked through the doors, the familiar scent of fresh paint and laughter filled the air. I felt a sense of pride swell in my chest. "Look at how far we've come," I said to Aidan, gesturing to the bustling activity room where residents were playing chess and painting. "Wow, Grandpa, this is amazing," he exclaimed, his eyes wide with wonder. We approached Edna, one of the residents, who was engrossed in a game of chess. "Edna, how's the chess club going?" I asked, a smile spreading across my face. "It's wonderful, Tom. We have so many players now, and it's a joy to see everyone getting involved," she replied, her eyes sparkling. Aidan chimed in. "Can I play too?" "Of course, dear, we're always looking for new players," Edna said, her warmth palpable. As Aidan joined the game, I took a moment to step back and observe. This was what I had fought for, a community, where everyone felt included and respected. The laughter, the camaraderie, and the sense of belonging filled my heart with joy. Later, as we sat together in the common area, I caught sight of a bulletin board filled with thank you notes from families expressing gratitude for the positive changes. "Look at this, Aidan," I pointed out. "These families are so grateful for what we're doing." Aidan read one aloud. "Thank you for giving my grandmother a voice again. She smiles every day now, and we can't thank you enough." Tears prickled at the corners of my eyes. This was the legacy that Nora and I had envisioned, a legacy built on love, compassion, and respect for the elderly. As the sun began to set, painting the sky in shades of gold and crimson, I realized that I had not only reclaimed my identity, but had also transformed the lives of those around me. This birthday was not just a celebration of my life. It was a testament to resilience, love, and the bonds that truly matter. I looked at Aidan, feeling a profound sense of gratitude. Together, we would continue to honor Nora's legacy and ensure that the spirit of care and dignity flourished at Harbor Pines. As I stood in the vibrant common area of Harbor Pines, watching the laughter and joy of the residents, I realized the profound lessons that had emerged from my journey. Life is fragile, and the bonds of family can be both a source of strength and, at times, a source of pain. The betrayal I experienced taught me the importance of standing up for my dignity and the dignity of others. It reinforced the belief that we must always strive to care for one another and cherish the moments we have together. In reflecting on my experiences, I found solace in the idea that love can transcend even the deepest betrayals. It is essential to remember the values we hold dear, and to honor the legacies of those we have lost, like Nora. We must weave our family stories with compassion and integrity, ensuring that future generations understand the significance of connection and respect. As I embraced this new chapter in my life, I felt the presence of Nora guiding me, reminding me of the importance of love and family. In moments of doubt, I sought comfort in her memory, knowing that her spirit lived on in the legacy we built together. So, dear friends, let us remember to cherish our family stories. They remind us of who we are and where we come from. Let us find strength in each other and create a community filled with love, respect, and understanding. If you found value in this journey, I invite you to share your thoughts in the comments. What lessons have your family stories taught you? Together we can inspire one another and perhaps even create a ripple effect of love and compassion in our communities. Thank you for joining me in this reflection, and may you always find the strength to honor your family stories just as I have learned to honor mine.